From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Ayum Hunab Ku Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
And so it is, and so it is. We are worshiping, excited about the harmony of mind and nature, which we have forgotten, but our ancestors knew. Our ancestors knew. I thank you for joining me this morning. I'm so excited to share with you knowledge I wasn't expecting to share, but I was watching the Female Solution this morning. That's my other family. And I'm on the On Air Everywhere network of Voices of Enlightenment. So I listen in every Friday before my show. Wow. I wasn't expecting a conversation on cancer, HIV, and natural ways to heal versus conventional ways to heal. That was pretty much what I got out of that conversation, which was great because these two queens were having a great conversation. And I'm going to share with you my experience over 35 years of how to prevent those things. Yeah. And here, in fact, one book I pulled out that I read probably 10 years ago that helped me understand the whole virus, disease, HIV, was Virus Mania. This book is over 20 years old. But when I read it, it talks about avian flu, cervical cancer, SARS. I read this years ago along with 2,000 other. I have reduced my library down to like a fifth of what I used to have. But stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how to prevent the HIV, the AIDS, the colon cancer was what came up in the discussion this morning. I'm almost an expert on that one because my former partner, who passed in October, I call him my significant other for 5 years, passed in October. He had a multitude of female body problems that I learned more about thanks to him and his struggle and his suffering and his openness and transparency. So you can learn a lot about diseases when people are transparent with you and tell you their feelings, what's going on in their life, their emotions. The energy in motion is what reveals a lot about disease. But I'm going to share with you today my perspective on these diseases and how to prevent them. Because if you had listened to the show this morning, you know, it's you take the conventional route, there's a lot of suffering. You take the natural route, it's pretty easy when you commit it to discipline and you get over it and you go on with your life. But the side effects of conventional treatment never go away. That's like with any pharmaceutical product, whether it's chemo, radiation, pharmaceutical drugs, the side effects don't go away until we make the decision to go deep within, meditate, not medicate. So I'm going to share that with you today at the end, near the end of the show. And because of the topic today, I don't always show my disclaimer, but it's necessary today. This show is not intended to replace any advice you may be receiving from your doctor, the man in the white coats, whatever. If you have an acute or chronic, that means a long term or a all of a sudden health condition that you cannot resolve, please, please, please see your trusted health professional. That's something we should all be aware of. I'm not a DR. There's a huge debate online with this woman, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. They don't want her to be called a doctor because she hasn't proven herself, her credentials, that she got a PhD and all the things. And they're debating like crazy whether she's qualified. This woman is overqualified, in my opinion, from experience, wisdom, and knowledge. I've listened to her many times, but people like to see the letters after the name or before. I'm just letting you know, disqualification here or disclaimer here. I don't have any too many letters. I got a few behind my name, and I don't have the DR. But my friend Mama AZ likes to put that label on me. I accept it because, as Dr. Brian always says, my boss is the Most High, creator of the universe. If you have a personal relationship with spirit, with the nature, I was sitting on the patio yesterday. These two cardinals kept flying back and forth. I'm like, what the? That's my favorite place to rest during the day, right outside here. My son has a screened in patio. And I sit there and watch nature unfold, birds and bees and all these things happening, sky, clouds, and these two cardinals. There was a male and female just going back and forth, back and forth. So they are my confirmation every day that I'm on the right path and that I am to share this truth and knowledge every day. I'm on the right path. So I hope you'll stay with me today to gain more knowledge, especially about our topic today, which is 6 body signs that you may need an emergency room visit. And it's going to be given you by Dr. Suneel Dhand. He's one of my favorite more natural doctors that I follow. But I'm going to show you the prevention of each of these signs. I'm going to give you what I have learned over 35 years of how to prevent these signs from even showing up. Prevention is the key. It's really the key. But it does require discipline, and not everybody's ready to practice it. So I fully accept that. I've been doing a lot of tapping on acceptance of my family's behavior, my friends' behavior. I'm letting go of all this need to control and be right. I'm just going to follow the cardinals, you know? So here we are. Let me welcome my village with this video that just shares the journey I've been on. Let me start that over. I love the beginning. Here we go.
The cook in ha. The cook in ha. And ha kabos in this order. The cook in ha. The cook in ha.
All right, so that's just a little part, and that music was by Imak. He's a brother who's been on my show a couple of times, and He's a beautiful brother who has allowed me to play his music. So I'm grateful. I don't have to worry about copyright stuff. So let us do what we came here to do on Friday morning, and that is roll some joints. Yes, let's get high. Let's get high on life, not on this, but on our joints. And if you've been with me a while, you know that this rolling joints has evolved for me into understanding your heart aura. What's all the energy that you're putting out when you move this body like this? This is all producing an aura and energy in your body. And I'm going to play that video, Heart Aura, with the piano so you can move along with the music, the video, the image to understand how you are improving your circulation, you're building up your immune system, and you're increasing your lymphatic drainage when you do this rolling. And finally, not finally, but this is something I brought in, you are strengthening your muscles when you do all this rolling around with your joints and all. Not only are you improving your mental state, but you are improving, you're strengthening your muscles. So this rolling of movement is all about and I'm having trouble with Wi-Fi this morning, so I'm just blessing. My Wi-Fi is on. I don't know why it's acting that way, but this message does not want to go out from the powers that should not be. But we're going to do it anyway because blessing the Wi-Fi. Anyway, let's get busy doing some meditative joint rolling. And meditation is one of the keys to prevent the diseases that were discussed earlier in the female solution. I was so impressed at the conversation about natural remedies versus conventional remedies. We have a choice. Freedom. We love our freedom. We choose the herbs, the golden seal was mentioned, all these herbs that, and I'm going to share with you my trip to the emergency room and what it taught me earlier in the year about blood pressure. Now, blood pressure is not on one of the signs that the doctor mentions. I was surprised. So I'm going to share my little story and how you prevent that as well. So let us get busy with this joint rolling. I'm going to put on the Heart Taurus video. It's the Heart Taurus is all about the energy that you put out when you're moving your body, when you're loving yourself, when you're doing all the things that your body. Let's start with yeah, my Wi-Fi is trying to act up, so I know what's going on here. We just keep moving here and do what we do. Not really did you get your So let's pause our heart, Taurus. Take a deep breath as you squeeze and release the energy for your vagus nerve that vagus nerve runs from the brain stem, which is the bottom of your brain, all the way through your body. It branches out like the trees. Every time I go to a park and I see trees branching out, it just makes me think of my own body, the spinal cord as the trunk, and then all those branches are our arms and our head and our leg. So we're in such a beautiful place, learning more and more about this temple. You know, when Christ said, "Go into the temple, go into your closet," he was talking about this closet, closing your eyes, and this going into the temple, the kingdom within. It's exciting to learn more and more about this body kingdom and how we can balance it, not with drugs, but with movement, meditation, and action that shows more love for this temple. Deep breath in, deep breath in. And out, deep breath in. Deep breath in, hold it, hold it, hold it, and blow out all that fear. Let go of all the fear about your future. Staying into the now, let go of all the resentment about things that haven't gone your way. Letting go of unforgiveness is huge, huge, huge in the prevention of disease. And we're going to talk more about that. But I'm going to go to my studio, put on a little music for you. And then we're going to show Dr. Suneel Dhand is going to tell us about the 6 body signs that you may need emergency room. Even though he does not like doctors, he brought this video out, which I thought was so interesting. And I'm going to give you the preventive knowledge that I've learned for each of these body signs. So stay tuned. Let's see if I can get
Papa aka Papa R Benenza put the cook on the order. But who's to get a limit to order as the cook put it in her. The cook put in her. And how could was in this order? Could the cook recurse cut or in her? The cook put it in her. The cook put in her. I looked at my dress with mad push.
So we are here in Viada's Tiny House Village studio. Thank you so much for joining me. You're going to be so blessed with this knowledge today that I hope you'll share it and give it all the attention you can. Quick grandma story. I love my grandma story. Yesterday was the first day of summer vacation for the kids. So the kids are here at their dad's. So I said, I need to go to the farm and get some eggs. So we have this beautiful farm, like 15 minutes away. So I took the grandkids with a lot of resistance from them at first, because they spent the whole morning on their tablets and their phones, whatever. And they did not want to give that up to go to the farm. So my grandson was, I hate you, grandma, blah, blah, blah. So we went to the farm. They loved it. I made them, when they got back, I made them write 3 sentences about how they felt about the farm. But I got my eggs and a little bit more, because they always have such good stuff there, and our kids got a drink. But my experience with the emergency room was because of my blood pressure. I'm not used to having blood pressure over like 130 or 40. My blood pressure went up earlier this year, 150, 160, I think. And I was like, and it was at midnight, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And I couldn't get it to go down, because I was in so much fear. And that's what the medical system does to you. You could have a heart attack if your blood pressure goes up. All those thoughts came to my mind. So I went over and I said, I told my son, I got to go to the emergency room. I can't get my blood pressure down. And one of the things I should have done was drink more water. Hello. I had too much coffee. I had 1 cup of strong coffee, which is Rise, is a product that's advertised everywhere with mushrooms. So I had a cup of that, but I bought a stronger package, stronger caffeine this time, because they were out of the other one. I had that coffee, had not had a lot of water that day at all when I thought about it in the emergency room. And I rode my bike to the store. That stressed my body out even more. No dehydrated coffee drink. Coffee dehydrates you. So guess what? You need to put more water. Didn't do that. And then I was doing something later that night that was a little stressed, thinking about something, and boom, my blood pressure went up. So I ran to the emergency room. By the time I got there, it was back down to normal, 120 over my usual. And so I got to sit in the emergency room for like 3 or 4 hours waiting for them to blood test, CAT scan. They did the work, EKG, the whole works. And I'm like, this is a great place to be when you have an emergency in your mind first. So long story short, all my tests were positive. They were normal. And my herbal adjustment, which I used before I went to the hospital, I finally just put some of that under my tongue. And that has like tobacco, Indian tobacco. It has all these hot things in it that just cause your blood pressure to go right down. Lesson learned was, why didn't I remember to just drink some water and do more breath work? Because the second time that happened a couple of weeks ago, my blood pressure went up again. And I had had some coffee and I thought I could manage it. And I didn't have enough water, evidently. This time I said, no, I'm not doing that trip to the emergency room. I spent all morning doing breath work, just breathing. And I was looking in my mirror, looking at chamomile essential oil. I found out so many essential clove oil, lavender. I was smelling lavender and all these oils because I am in such a place where my spiritual journey is evolving and elevating. And so the what's happening in the planets is very significant to what happens in our body when we are really in tune with nature. So lesson learned was, anyway, stay away from the coffee. And at the farm, this place is great. I found this great product, hibiscus earth tea. Hibiscus is great. And I didn't have any hibiscus tea that day either. Hibiscus is the #1 herb to help keep your blood pressure normal. I'll say normal. This hibiscus earth tea has lion's mane mushroom, reishi mushroom, and cordyceps. I'm like, this is a gift from heaven, caffeine free. My kind of product. If you would like to know where to get this, because this is the best product for me, where I wanted to keep Rise coffee has mushrooms in it. That's why I was drinking it, because I want to get the benefits of the mushroom. But the caffeine, I really don't need that. I can drink green tea, black tea. In fact, I do chai tea, which is black tea. This product is so good. I tried it for the first time. It tastes heavenly. It's like a fruity taste. So you get the hibiscus blood pressure balance. Okay, we're going to work with this Wi-Fi thing. And you get the mushrooms. And this company is out called goodtimehealth.com. I'll put it in the chat. Goodtimehealth.com. I couldn't have asked for a better solution to preventing what happened to me before, because it reminds me that hibiscus is the flower that can help us keep everything. And after I drank it, an hour later, I took my blood pressure. It was perfectly normal. It didn't even drop at all. It just was managed and balanced perfectly. So just a suggestion, if you have blood pressure issues and you want to get that mushroom nutrition in, this is a great product. So let's get into Dr. Suneel Dhand's 6 body signs that you may need an emergency room visit. And I'm going to show you just how to prevent it. And from my experience, I'm not a doctor, as I wrote the disclaimer, but from my experience, there's ways to prevent each of these signs that can help you. If you don't, and I don't have medical insurance, so I only have Medicare, and that's only if I get admitted to the hospital, then Medicare will pay 80%. I'm not planning to do that. So Medicare is free for me. So let us listen to a medical doctor's perspective. This is Dr. Suneel, has been to medical school. He's practiced in the emergency room. In fact, he was an emergency room doctor for a while. And so let's listen to his wisdom about 6 things that Dr. Suneel says you should be aware of, that you might need a little bit more help. Emergency rooms in the United States of America are #1. They're the best. They can save your life, basically, if you are at that point where you need to make a decision about your health that you haven't prevented. And again, stay tuned. I'm going to show you how to prevent the colon cancer, the HIV that was talked about earlier on the Female Solution. But let's listen right now to Dr. Suneel about how he avoids doctors, but he wants us to be aware that sometimes you may need to go to the doctor.
6 symptoms which would make me run to the doctor, quite literally run to the doctor. And I would encourage any family member, any loved one of mine to do the same thing. Now, on this channel, I talk a lot about health and longevity. Of course, the goal is to stay healthy. Ideally, stay away from doctors, the medical industrial complex, pharmaceuticals, all of that, only as a last resort. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean being stupid, because if any symptoms hit out of the blue, often we can be doing everything right. People do the right thing, but bad things can still happen. We've all seen that. And it's important to know when to go to the doctor urgently, maybe even go to the emergency room or an urgent care facility. And I'm going to review 6 warning red flag symptoms. In my time as a doctor, these would make me, or I would encourage anybody who I care about, to go immediately and get checked out, because things can spiral out of control very quickly. A stitch in time saves 9, and we're actually quite blessed to be living in a time where things can be caught very early. Number 1, sudden, acute, severe headaches. Everybody will occasionally get headaches. Most of the time, these are what is known as tension type headaches. Maybe you're stressed, maybe you haven't slept, maybe you're dehydrated. But if you have severe headaches which start to occur, that should warrant urgent evaluation. If the headaches especially are worse in the morning, if they are worse when you bend down, when you sneeze, that could be a sign of something really, really bad. And often if you have those types of symptoms, severe headaches, which are not getting better, not relieved with simple analgesics, then a CT scan of the head would be warranted. So as soon as you notice, hopefully this will never happen, if you start to have severe headaches, which you know your own body are out of the blue for you, get that urgently checked out. Number 2.
Now, let me pause here and all of a sudden, this is an acute situation, basically, because if you've been having headaches for a year and you're not dead yet, that's not an emergency room. That's a lifestyle change, more than likely. But I had migraines in one time in my life as a teenager when my parents didn't know how to heal my severe chronic severe pain during menstrual. Every month I had severe pain where I'd throw up and the pain was just awful. Took me to a doctor. He prescribed birth control pills. Great. I can start having sex and not worry. No. But those pills gave me migraines. Every time I took those birth control pills and it helped my menstrual pains, but it gave me headache and migraines. Had to stop that. The pain came back. I had to deal with it another way. So yes, that was my only experience with severe headaches. So if you are having, as he said, sudden acute severe headaches, that might, and if it comes on just like out of nowhere, you might need to go and get a CAT scan. Now they did a CAT scan for me, even though I had high blood pressure, and it wasn't that high, but they had nothing else to do that evening. There was nobody waiting in the emergency room. So they will do a CAT scan, even if you don't have insurance, they'll do it. So don't be afraid if it comes on suddenly. And then I would say, once you get home, they tell you what happened, what's on, make a lifestyle change, maybe evaluate as you sit in the emergency room waiting for someone, a nurse practitioner usually shows up. I never even saw a doctor that evening at the emergency room. No doctor, it was a nurse practitioner and other nurses doing all the work that doctors don't do anymore. That doctor could have been home at home on a phone or something. I don't know where he was, but he didn't show up and see me. So just be prepared. Emergency room visits are a time for reflection. Because why do we get into emergency? If we're changing our lifestyle, doing more meditation, more nature, being outside, less stress from work, and more deep breathing, the headache may not have occurred. But again, as Dr. Suneel advises, if it comes on quickly, you don't know what to do. And if peppermint oil is great for headaches, if you rub on some peppermint oil on your temples, this temple here, and on the back of your neck. Sometimes your headache will go away and then it wasn't that serious. But if that headache doesn't go away after, like he said, mild attempts to take it, to treat it, headache, breathing, tapping, then trip to the emergency room might be needed.
Chest pain or jaw pain, which occurs on exertion. What do I mean by this? Well, when you're working your heart, you could be walking up the stairs, you could be walking briskly, even jogging, you start to get some chest discomfort, often described as heaviness. And this can commonly radiate upwards. It can even go down the left arm, but it can go up to the jaw. Jaw pain, discomfort when you exert yourself can be a hidden red flag sign. And this symptom, I'm sure you already know, warrants an urgent heart evaluation, often starting with an EKG, maybe some blood tests, and then a stress test to see if your heart is short of oxygen. Are your heart arteries narrow? And could you be at risk of a heart attack? Number 3.
Now, I had several chest issues. Chest discomfort during my marriage. I went to the emergency room maybe 2 or 3 times because I started having this discomfort in the chest. Every time it was acid reflux. Every time. I felt embarrassed at some time. So I started realizing, okay, what is causing the acid reflux, which the gas from indigestion, stress, oftentimes pushes onto the nerves around the heart and creates this discomfort. So if you take like charcoal and do your breath work, oftentimes it's gone. In fact, I was riding in a car with a friend one day going to see some property, and he said, we got to go to the emergency room. My chest is hurting. We got to go. And I'm like, where are we? In the middle of nowhere. Where are we going to get an emergency? So I'm driving, trying to figure out where the next emergency room is. In the meantime, I'm telling him, breathe, start breathing, breathe, take some deep breath. And we're driving. All of a sudden, he said, I'm feeling better. Let's stop here. Stop at a 7-Eleven and got some ginger capsules or candy or something and some water. Guess what? The pain went away because he realized, again, he had coffee that morning, no food. We're riding along for an hour or so. Coffee, no food. Gas starts forming, indigestion, and he starts feeling like he's having a heart attack. So sometimes you can take some remedies like breathing deeply, water, and just calming the stress down with breath work, and that discomfort will go away. But if you have had a lifestyle of unhealthy eating, stress, and then all of a sudden this chest pain and exhaustion shows up, you might need to go and get it checked out. So good advice from Dr. Suneel.
Unexplained weight loss. I know nowadays we could say that most of the population, obviously, statistically, are significantly overweight. And what we want is natural weight loss with lifestyle measures. In that case, weight loss is obviously a good thing and a goal to aim for most people. But unexplained weight loss is very concerning. If people don't change their lifestyles at all, I know nowadays people are on pharmaceuticals as well. But if people don't have any change in their diet, they're not exercising, and they're just losing weight. This is one where I see people waiting too long because people might think, oh, I'm losing weight. And maybe that was a goal of theirs and they're not trying and they're wondering why it's happening. And often people can wait too long before they seek help. And I don't need to tell you, this could be something terrible happening in the body. It could be a growth somewhere. And that's why people are losing weight. So if weight loss is occurring and you're not trying to lose weight, then please get that checked out. Number 4.
Now, my significant other for 5 years was losing weight like crazy after a while. And he had been constipated for years. In fact, he said he'd been constipated most of his life. But he gained knowledge with herbs to treat the constipation. There was one called Swiss Chris. You ever heard of Swiss Chris? It's a nice, gentle senna leaves and all these great colon relieving herbs. He took that for years. But at some point, he couldn't gain any weight. He ate a lot of bread. So you would think people eating bread would gain weight, he was using food for comfort and still losing weight. So finally, it turned out from the VA hospital visit, he finally ended up not just at the emergency room, but in the hospital for a week doing tests of all kinds. His kidneys were bad. His urine, his bladder was bad. His colon, of course, was clogged for years, and then his prostate was having trouble. All these symptoms he had, he was going to a chiropractor, he was taking all these herbs. He did a great job of managing the symptoms. At some point, there needs to be a change. Now, I come into his life and I want to change everything, and he's like resisting everything not everything, but most of the things I wanted to do. So we played a lot of Scrabble and played chess, and that's what relieved the stress in his life, really. Went to Cuba, but all those symptoms did not go away. And the weight loss, as he said, if you're continually losing weight, that's a red flag. And maybe not just the emergency room, but that's like get a serious checkup on why your emotional state is so low frequency. And that's what was going on with him. A lot of anger, Vietnam War veteran, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, unforgiveness from his parents giving him away. There's just so much there that I've tried to unload for him. He was like, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. And I finally realized I'm just meant to observe without judgment. So it was a huge lesson for me. But weight loss, that's a big one, to think about why you're losing it, and then think about the emotions you're carrying that are causing your body to let go of life in you.
Incontinence of either bladder or bowel. If this happens, obviously it's very unpleasant going to the bathroom without knowing it. Then that is something that requires, typically, if it's happened out of the blue, go straight to the emergency room. There could be something like spinal cord compression, which has resulted in you suddenly losing control. Now, this is quite a rare occurrence, but when it does happen out of the blue, don't wait. Sometimes when people are older, they can think that these symptoms, gradually losing control, is a normal part of aging. But if this happens abruptly out of the blue, it warrants a very urgent investigation. Number 5.
Now, that's pretty common on a chronic level, that often we lose, our bowels get loose, our bladder gets affected. And I'll tell you, because when those things happen, if you go to her book, you can do some tapping on the emotional connection to why am I having diarrhea? Why are my bowels loose? And sometimes it's just a matter of what you just ate. You eat too much. I was eating so many fermented foods at one time. My grandson told me I smelled like compost, and my bowels would get really loose. And so I had to back off from the types of food that I was eating that were creating a really loose stool. So that's what happens. Always take a look at your lifestyle, your stress, and your diet before, when these things show up. And then, as he says, sometimes you got to run to the emergency room.
Difficulty swallowing. This can occur insidiously over weeks or months. People feel like they've just got difficulty getting food down. They have a sensation that the food is getting stuck. Please get this looked at quickly. Typically, it would involve, after general examination, maybe a look in the mouth, some blood tests. It would typically involve an upper GI endoscopy, putting a scope down. Maybe ENT would get involved as well, but often it's gastroenterology. Make sure that there's no really bad reason why your esophagus, your food pipe, is getting blocked. So get that.
Now, this reminds me of the recent news that the former Attorney General, Pam Bondi, was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. You know, that's in this area right here. That's an easy answer for you. That woman, I don't know how she was able to survive the time she spent with this current administration, because she had to come out and speak lies every day about the Epstein file. I mean, we saw, if you watched any news over the last year, about this administration and the Epstein file. She was the pawn, I would say. She was the pawn on the chessboard that had to go out there and say, we're going to show you all the Epstein files. We got the Epstein files now. We're going to bring them out, blah, blah, blah. And she just lied. And you could just see the energy that was depleting her life in this area, speaking lies every day in front of the public. And the narcissist chief president was giving all the orders for what she should do. And it just probably totally went against her true human nature. Now she is suffering with thyroid cancer. That's like your throat chakra. That is when that throat chakra is in serious conflict, as that poor woman was. Guess what? You're going to have cancer show up because it's a conflict of your human biology, natural human biology. You're constantly putting out lie. That was so interesting. But as he said, difficulty swallowing is about stress. Let me give you, my friend of mine had a situation where she had difficulty swallowing, eating a meal. And I looked right away at the situation that she was in, that she was having a hard time swallowing. The new lifestyle she was in, she can't swallow it. It's just too much, too frustrating and too challenging. These were her words many times. I'm frustrated with this new situation and it's challenging. And so when you are constantly putting the energy of frustration and challenging in your psyche, in your throat chakra area, remember the heart, or the heart torus. That heart torus wants to keep flowing. When we do those joint rolling, everything is smooth and flowing. When you introduce a conflict in your emotional, mental state, guess what? If it's in this area where you keep expressing frustration and challenges, it might clog up here. Pam Bondi, poor woman. Now, not poor. She has to learn a lesson now about taking on jobs where she has to lie for a living. That's the truth. And where you are not exercising your authentic self. Anything that interferes with you being your authentic, beautiful soul self creates disease, okay?
Looked at quickly. And number 6 is altered mental status, increasing confusion. This is a bit different because a person who's having these symptoms might not know about it. They might be perfectly happy. So it usually falls on the loved one. If you suspect your loved one, and this is more common, obviously, over the age of 65, is more confused, they're not themselves. If this happens over a quick time period, then it usually isn't cognitive decline. Cognitive decline usually happens more gradually. If people 1 month are doing great, they're independent, and then the next month, they're more confused and missing things, they're not having coherent conversations, then that would definitely warrant a very urgent evaluation. Usually a scan of the head, what is going on. Typically an infection could also cause these symptoms, but usually over days, something like a urinary tract infection. So I hope you remember those 6 things. Number 1, severe headaches. Number 2, chest pain or jaw pain, discomfort, particularly on exertion. Number 3, unexplained, unintentional weight loss. Number 4, incontinence of either bladder or bowel. Number 5, swallowing difficulty, food getting stuck. And number 6, altered mental status or confusion. I could add others as well, like night sweats, unexplained fevers, but I really want to focus on these 6 because frequently as a hospital doctor, when I see disasters come into the emergency room and then they get admitted to hospital, often when you ask people, symptoms started weeks or months ago, and people kind of pass it off. And this can be human nature. Nobody wants a horrible diagnosis. People are often afraid to seek medical attention. And my goal as a doctor is for people to be the healthiest version of themselves. I hope that everybody can institute lifestyle changes and daily habits which decrease their risks of bad things happening. Nevertheless, bad things can often happen out of the blue. And it's important to be very sensible and know when to get checked out. So I hope that video has helped.
So I think that was great advice. That's why I wanted to share it with you, because he is a very conscious physician The only area where he doesn't pay attention to is emotional intelligence. And that's my major teaching now, is recognizing that if you don't have emotional intelligence, you're creating an acidic environment in your body when you hold on to grief, unforgiveness, guilt, shame. All those things our parents and our churches, religious institutions taught us to hold on to. Shame, shame, shame. And you only can get relief with a savior. All that creates the acidic condition. So I want to just deal a little bit with what I heard this morning on the show about HIV and cancer, because they were having a great discussion on the treatments that these women experienced in their life and whether it helped or not. The host Cinnabella was talking about how her brother, I think, went through all these natural herbs and treated her mother, all these, and they got well and they're off. And the guest was saying what she went through with the traditional medical treatment, and now she's still suffering from some of the side effects from what I heard. So HIV, this woman works with HIV. Let me tell you a very important lesson I learned about HIV. Back in the 70s, when HIV was starting up in the news, especially in San Francisco, the heart of gay life, okay? I did a lot of research. There was a lot of information about the lifestyle of gay men is this. Now, pay attention. This is very, very important. For those people who think they can be bisexual and have, all this fun, and down low and all that, when the sperm enters the other end of the body, the colon area, that sperm is very acidic because it's meant to get rid of any opposition or competition to get to the egg. Okay, do your homework on this. But I learned this and I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. So all those men having their fun, gay sex in the colon, were destroying their immune system. Follow me. That acidic nature of sperm going in the colon. Now, this may be a little adult for some of you, too much. The acidic nature of sperm exploding in the rear end that men practice when they have a love affair with other men, it destroys the immune system. Why? Because the acidic nature of the sperm destroys the microbiome. Can you believe that? Can you get that picture? So HIV exploded because of the lifestyle practice of gay men. Now, this is not being homophobic, because it's just biology. Sperm is acidic. Your colon has lots of microbiome, bacteria, viruses, and fungus. And you put some sperm in there, boom, you have an explosion. It's like putting a dynamite in your colon and wiping out all the good stuff, because that sperm is strong. It's trying to get to the egg. It's not trying to get up your colon. So HIV is a lot of that. Even in Africa, guess what? They're practicing gay sex, whatever. And then again, how the women getting it? The women are having sex with these men who are bisexual. Now, that's just one theory that I researched and found out to be true in my own research. And so HIV has more to do with lifestyles and biology, because your microbiome is your defense. Your microbiome in the gut is your army. That's your army. So you got to feed that army. You got to feed it sauerkraut, pickles, yogurt, kefir, tempeh, all the foods. And don't overdo it like I did, because I was like just really pouring it all in, and having gas, and just it was like coming through my skin. It was so strong. So every day, yogurt is your part of your meal, or kefir, or putting pickles on your sandwiches or salad. These are ways, and sauerkraut occasionally. You don't have to do these things every day, but and then eating a lot of fiber. Fresh fruit and vegetables creates an environment in your microbiome that will feed like a prebiotic to feed the virus, to keep the viruses, bacteria, fungus in balance. So you don't have to have HIV show up. Human and papillomavirus, that's a virus. HIV is a virus that could be in every single human being, but it's in check if your microbiome is balanced. If you have enough good bacteria, that HIV just sitting there, playing chess or something, and whatever HIV viruses do in your gut. In fact, viruses are really not proven to be an actual substance or energy. They show up from a lifestyle. Viruses show up as particles, offsets of bad say, I'm going to put it this way: if you have an army down there and you have a battle going on down there, then the side effects of the battle is viruses. Okay. And they will get through the skin of the colon, they will start venturing out because there's a battle going on in your body. That's how viruses show up. So whether they're talking about hantavirus or whatever, they already existed. The hantavirus, for instance, has been around for ages. Where did it come from? The battle. It's part of the battle that goes on in your body. And it's an offshoot. The virus is kind of an offshoot of the battle where these particles show up because your body's not balanced. So these women today, we're talking about HIV, but that book I mentioned, Virus Mania, is a great read. It's about 200 pages. Great read on how Anthony Fauci brought in a drug, AZT, back in the day to try and fight HIV, AIDS, and killed a lot. And I won't say he killed. A lot of people died from that drug. There's a great movie, Macaulay, the Texas something, I forget the name of it right now. Somebody may know. Great movie about that whole movement of fighting HIV, and it shows the battle against the drugs and the herbs that were used to help HIV patients. And this guy set up a big clinic out of a hotel, and he was helping. This is the movie. I can't think of the name of it. It's something to do with Texas, Houston. Somebody know the name of that movie? Macaulay Culkin, not Macaulay Culkin. Anyway, I'll think of it later maybe. But it was a great example of the battle going on with HIV and AIDS and how to treat it with either traditional, thanks to Anthony Fauci promoting a drug, the AZT drug, that didn't help at all. It really just created more side effects. Any pharmaceutical drug you take will give you more side effects. So these women were talking about cancer this morning. Well, that's my book that I did a lot of research on, From Fear to Faith in the Master Design. Is a book that came out of my sister's journey with breast cancer for 9 months. She taught me the most important lesson of my life, and that is emotional intelligence, how her grief from her daughter's death, hit by a car, gone one day, that grief and unforgiveness of herself and shame and all the emotions that came out of the sudden death of a child, they lodged in my sister's subconscious and every cell of her body. The grief, the unforgiveness was just, and she couldn't get rid of it. So guess what? It showed up in her breast because the nurturing, caring love that she was giving to her daughter got cut off. And so the breast manifests disease. Cancer develops when you have a conflict in your emotions that you can't resolve. Whether it's grief and unforgiveness are huge with cancer. I have a book called The Cancer Report that I read years ago, and I still use it because it's got testimonies from so many people in that book about how they overcame their cancer. And one important story was about a guy who called all his friends when he was diagnosed fourth stage cancer of some kind, called all his friends, sent messages about asking them to forgive him for whatever they had done. Guess what? The cancer went away because he took the mind and the action to ask for forgiveness and then forgiving himself, and the cancer went into remission. So preventing cancer and HIV is really about meditation, not medication, but meditation to bring about your authentic self. Bring your authentic self to life. Being transparent about the people in your life who you need to forgive and who influence your behavior, your lifestyle. Maybe you became an alcoholic. My mother was an alcoholic most of my young life, and I couldn't figure out why. What was the thing that was kept her drowning her pain, her emotional pain? Well, one of the things was my dad's affair when he was a football player that was in Jet magazine. That was one that she discovered. And her self-esteem went to the basement when that, because then my dad divorced her, and she just did not have the love of self enough to say, well, I'm going to rise above this. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to do something different. She didn't have the self-esteem to do that. So she used alcohol to numb her pain. That's natural behavior in my mind now. People use food, alcohol, opiates, any number of things to numb their emotional pain. That's natural behavior, but it's destructive behavior. So if you want to prevent these diseases that the pharmaceutical companies love to show up in your life, number one, breath work. Taking in more oxygen. There's a man, Otto Warburg, did a experiment on cancer, and he discovered cancer cells cannot live in an oxygen-rich environment. So most of us are going around not doing any deep breathing. Most people are, until they learn the value of breath work, rhythmic breath work, any kind of breath work, they're walking around with not getting enough oxygen. So once you start consciously bringing in more oxygen, cancer cannot live in your body. Just can't. You can do all the herbs you want, all the raw foods, juicing, all that. My sister, we did that for almost 9 months. The cancer kept growing because and we weren't doing breath work back then. This was in 2004, it was almost 22 years ago. No, I was not knowledgeable, conscious of deep breath work at that point. So we were just doing a lot of raw food, a lot of healthy eating lifestyle, but no meditation. We were praying a lot to Jesus, all that. We were going, using our religious teaching, Bible and all that, and changing our diet, because I had been in the health food industry for 10 years at that point, but no oxygen enriching activity. None of that. So today I would say prevention is all about breath work. There are tons of different breath work you can do. Just go to YouTube and type in rhythmic breath work, soma breath work, deep rhythmic breath. There's like hundreds of different breath work, but just do it. And then your diet is now about eat less. You don't need all that food. You really don't, because it taxes your digestive system to work harder to get rid of the chemicals you're eating, and they are chemicals, and to give more attention to the stresses. The hormones start, if you're in unforgiveness mode, if you're in shame and guilt, then your adrenal glands will get exhausted, and that's what will create the environment of acid pH that cancer loves. So key is to develop a pH, alkaline pH with your emotions. Now, and this is my sister drank tons of alkaline water. We had a shop next to where I was working that you could go in with a gallon of container and fill up on your on alkaline water all day, every day. She was given that for free. Did not change her state of cancer because she was in guilt, grief, unforgiveness, and so much more for too long. So your chronic state of low frequency emotions will keep you in cancer mode, which is maybe a journey some people need to go on. I know my sister's journey taught me so much that I'm grateful for what we went through, because now I can share it with you to be cancer free, HIV free. When you change your lifestyle, focus on your breath. Your breath every day, every stressful situation, your breath, meditate, go into your closet, as Yeshua the Christ said, go into your closet and worship the kingdom within. Breathing, music, all those things can prevent the suffering that some people unfortunately need to go through if they don't make the change. My significant other was not assigned to heal his body. He was assigned to teach me all the things that he did not want to do that created his transition on my grandmother's birthday. That was the real awakening, that this man who I wanted to change. You got to change. You got to change your lifestyle. You got to change. And then his last breath he took on my maternal mother's birthday. It's like, how does that happen? It happens because everything's in divine order. Watch the numbers. And that's what I was talking about on Wednesday. The numbers will help you make thousands of dollars if you get into stock trading. And that's a whole nother subject. I'm having so much fun developing a watch list of companies. You know, some companies you're actually already funding with your tax dollars, because when companies get a government contract, guess who's paying for it? You and me. So it pays to get into stock trading, especially if you find out the companies that have government contracts and they're doing really well. And next month, when all this space activity shows up, they're going to do even better. And I invested in a company called Redwire early this week. I'm already making money. I didn't put but a couple of shares in there. I invested less than $100 in like 3 companies, and all of them are going up, because you watch what they're about, what they're doing, why they're there. And especially if they have government contracts, I'm learning your money's going in to help them be successful. So you might want to look into whether you should buy some of the stocks that they're offering. So anyway, we're at 10, 10, 10, 11. That's a good number to say thank you for joining me this morning. I had a couple of comments here. Let's see. My nephew was asking, the book I showed here was Virus Mania. Excellent education on viruses and the mania and the big pharma, how they promote it for their profit. So thank you all for joining me this morning. I hope you'll share this. If this has been beneficial, if you've learned something, gained something, I welcome any cash apps at $ Vieta Robinson. I am not monetized on YouTube. I don't really want to be, because then they really start controlling what you do and show. It's free of control. That's my lifestyle. So if you want to send a donation, $ Vieta Robinson. And if you'd like to get my book, From Fear to Faith in the Master Design, a manual on cancer prevention and other diseases, send a cash app, $8 cash app, and your email address, and I'll send you the book along with Vegetable Soup book, another book, 70-page book that'll help you nourish your body, your mind, and your finances. So we're doing a lot these days. And today, grandchildren, I got to go to grandma duty now. Dad's at work. Grandchildren are over there playing video games. So guess who's going to go over there and figure out what are we doing today, kids? It's going to be a full summer. Tomorrow we go to swim school. Yay! I am trying really to encourage these grandchildren to get into swimming like I did and my sisters. And there's a lot of resistance because, again, I'm the fifth wheel out of four people who are influencing their lives more than me. But I'm okay with that now. I am letting go with tapping any need to control, letting go of any need to be right. Don't need that anymore because it only causes more stress in the body and blood pressure issues. That's where I think a lot of my blood pressure issues were about trying to influence, trying to control, and worrying about people in my life who have horrible eating habits. Letting go, letting go, letting go. And that's my evolution, is to let go of the emotions that don't serve me. So I hope you'll do the same. And join me on Sunday. I don't have anything planned on Sunday, so I'll be here with Soul Purpose Healing. So all my yogi friends out there, namaste and sat nam. I honor and bless the creator in you, and thank you for honoring me in the same way. And ashe, to all my African language and lifestyle brothers and sisters. Aho. Native American, indigenous love, going out today from this temple. And shalom. Everybody go out, please get some sun. You don't need any vitamin D tablets if you're out in the sun all day. So get as much sun as you can so that we prevent the profits of Big Pharma going up. Love you.
On the bed, book back to cool tap the gal. The cooks a hopper, a cop papa R. Penenza put the cook on the order. Go who's to get a lemon to order. A zempa, haka kept a cataract. A dear again. Tashi, I wish you up a sound come one. The fear who the comedy a cal at noon. I kick the geek up, you with pop to sad. I knew get a was, look at pop my garage. I knew I went for papa lag. I knew I got but you I could get that. I knew could do the culture destined yet. I knew could do la mother was part of that. I do free papa that the guy was and noon for nas that super do I got the horse. The cook could put it in hot, yeah. The cook could put it in hot, yeah. In hot, come on,